Thanks actually for the time and allowing us to get together here to discuss the K-12 system, EdTech impact on learners amidst COVID. I hope everybody's safe and please stay safe. This is serious. It's really serious. Doug Saturday, I have been in telecom for years. Worked in tech and banking in the initial days of my career. I'm a Ugandan, and as we go forward, we will know where in Uganda I come from, if it really matters. But worked for a big company here, worked for the big telecoms, worked for Cogent Communications, and however, I wanted to use my vast experience in business development and R&D experiences to add visible value and not to be lost in crowds. Over time, you learn very quickly that sticking with probably larger organizations may not move you where you want to be. And I joined a small organization, technology company, telecom company that wanted to be prepared to go, if you say, to grow and expand beyond where it was about the time I joined it. Over time, that company saw and recognized the potential in me. 3 years later, the company has seen success, and the owners who thought probably maybe they may need to sell, that is no longer the case, willing to sell despite the increasing interest. So why is that? There has been there's been growth. So that growth in EdTech, working with different, again, Janet, I think Janet spoke to something that is close to my heart, helping kids, as we will see, and I will answer that question that you put forward, and possibly we could find solutions for you and guide you into better organizations that can assist you regarding your need. So I'm into telecommunications and more so deriving business development based on tangible solutions designed to meet needs within the market space. So we will be looking at particular lines of our specific technology or devices that have been thrown into the market into K-12 and understanding how those are functioning across the board. Anything else, Kaseja?
No, you can proceed.
Fantastic. Anybody with any questions so far? I just wanted this to be a little interactive so that it's not tutorial. We're just discussing from our experiences, but I'll guide this. This is my expectations. The purpose of the presentation is to give an overview of K-12 EdTech. The outcome that I envision here will be to spur interest from governments or private investors and telecoms to invest in EdTech projects and career guidance. Now, when we talk about investing, we are probably referring to our countries of origin where they may have been affected deeply in helping the kids still have access to education content where they have had total lockdowns. And we know this has happened over the last 6 months or so. So any other person who is in those areas could leverage this experience or this case studies to see where implementations of this nature may be required. The structure will include EdTech case study, and the case study is based on the American K-12, and then a Q&A session where need be. I will be very straight up here that should there be questions that require more responses, we'll place those on blackboards or on the board and wait on the parking lot, and we can find answers to those and then deliver if they are very complex questions that require some more additional information. The program will run us an hour. So the whole idea really is when you look at the landscape of K-12, and I think there is a slide that could have, I don't know if that slide, fantastic, here it is. If you look at the layout of K-12 and learning methods, the entire landscape of K-12, there's been a lot of changes over time. But when you look at how schools are laid out and how education content is being delivered across different grade levels, we pick deeper interest now, or that after COVID-19, there is an accelerated demand for connectivity to these kids generally who require connectivity across different school districts. Now, we do know that before COVID, we were actually struggling mostly or working in line to get kids who came from families that were unable to access connectivity because they are off the grid, they have no access to broadband, number two, or they are simply families that are poor and have no access to education broadband in their households. So if you look at this layout, some of those areas that we are concerned with, that in affluent areas have access, and in some areas totally there is nothing, and that creates the gap. So a lot of companies have run out to bridge those gaps that exist. And how do they bridge the gaps? They bridge the gaps by either delivering traditional classes through a blended learning model. It could be blended, including online education and our traditional one-on-one or in-person classroom studies. But if we look a little deeper into understanding these blended learning, and more so to, if I derive this, push this towards education, I mean towards remote learning, we will be looking at which one of these modes between is synchronous and asynchronous education or learning model is much better. So it's really, and most people will tell you that it's an unproductive debate to compare both or to try and find which one is better than the other. But at the end of the day, are we still delivering content to the kids where they are, effectively in their households, and they are able to complete homework or school material as expected? So it would depend on whether the school district requires specific models of education or over the other, depending on the resources that they command. But that will totally depend on the school district and its requirements. Now, where you're saying, hey, currently we are looking at very many school districts taking on a synchronous mode of education that involves live online content delivery or live classrooms, and asynchronous where it involves access to live content, but a lot of times kids have time to go back and do their homework or study separately without accessing live content directly from the teachers. So those are that is the blended learning model that we are seeing across the US, and it's being driven by data. Now, how much data is required to drive this kind of this mode of education outside the US? It's something that we may look at differently to understand the user cases in different countries or in different areas where we think these models can be applied to help the kids who need it. But again, it all depends on, particularly on school districts and or a school or a particular district that with its resources to make sure that this is accessible and as expected. Any questions on the blended learning models and what comes beneath it? So our purpose really is to keep students connected wherever they may be. And one of those resources that are being deployed across different communities, you will see connected school buses. And how is this happening? School buses are very important models of delivery of education content, especially in areas where we are having kids held down in apartment complexes, in far away areas that cannot be easily reached. A school district will push a bus out there connected with Wi-Fi access. We deliver this over routers. These are critical point routers with concurrent connections of about 65, allowing up to maybe 100 feet. No, it should be about between it should be around 50 and 300 feet range connection. So if the bus pulled into a complex with that router connected to it, kids should be able to freely connect to it and access education content. That is a huge model. But if you look at the numbers of kids across the country who do not have adequate access to internet or devices at home currently, it's staggering. It's concerning. You wonder where we have been, but a lot of times, again, like I said earlier in my introduction, that these kids, particularly those numbers that you're seeing, these are kids who may not afford to have connectivity. It's a luxury. So 20% of the college students as well, you look at colleges without constant access to technology or internet access, it's not just in the K-12, you will see 1 in 3 children do not have internet access at home. Those are staggering numbers. But how do we bridge those gaps to make sure that all those kids, even now during these hard times, have connectivity that they need? The solutions are available. And by the way, look out for your school district. If you happen to have children, these solutions are available and being handed out to students from school districts for free. So that is FYI, or for your attention, actually. If you think you have kids that may require those, check with your school district. They do have those resources and helping our kids to access. So these connectivity requirements are based on free and reduced numbers. When we look at free and reduced numbers of a school, some schools are totally free. When I say free and reduced, I mean meals. Schools provide meals free, or some would provide meals on a reduced pricing, depending on the situation. But if we derive those numbers per school district, and you're talking about a particular solution that could meet the needs of a particular school district, we would look at those numbers and add those numbers and calculate about 20% of that. And usually they are huge numbers. But if we're looking at a school district with about, let's say, 6,000 students, and if they have a certain number on free and reduced, or if the entire 6,000 is on free and reduced, then we may want to calculate 20% of that free and reduced to derive our number of kids who have no connectivity. So that'd be 20% of that 6,000 kids who do not have internet access, that require these devices, that require these solutions or education technology to make sure that they have access to classrooms. if you look at the solutions for distance learning, that we probably normal things that we have seen over time, there is that magical hotspot. The hotspots are very critical in mass connectivity of so many school districts.
Somebody mute, please.
We will see Chromebooks, either now with the recent introduction of LTE embedded Chromebooks, we will see Windows eBooks, etc. All those are devices that are out there being handed out to kids across different school districts. I talked about the bus, and that is rolling libraries across different school districts. These usually is designed to meet needs for kids who are traveling long distance for athletic activities or field trips, stay engaged with the teachers. But again, recently, they are being pushed into communities, into apartment complexes to make sure that kids who are without connectivity can tap into the flow of internet off the bus, utilizing that router to make sure that they are accessing and be able to complete their homework or school-related material. Connected classrooms. The connected classrooms could be, we are looking at different devices in different rooms to allow for that easy flow of connectivity, interconnected devices. Say if it's a modem that is being hooked up, we have routers, we have certain management portals that link up to those devices, cell phones or tabs, depending on what school district is utilizing. All those devices in a classroom in real time should be easily connected. Device management, very important and very critical in a school district environment. Managing K-12 is pretty tough. It's not an easy job to manage kids, but more so to manage all the devices that are out there with the kids. We require a tool that would allow us to seamlessly manage those devices and also push content to those devices so that kids are monitored, and at the same time, they have free access to the school education content they need to access in real time. So it's very important to have the MDM. Now, I don't know what particular MDM tools that you may be looking at, but there are several in the market, and we can pick on one at a later stage and see which one particularly may make sense to us. Very important to have reporting tools. Well, you may have all these devices that we're talking about, technology across all different school districts, but without reporting tools, what are you managing? What are you actually handing out to the kids? How do you track success? Now, in the line of tracking success, we will be looking at different tools to understand how that success is going to look like, how we cast that, how we look at our objectives, and see how those objectives can really deliver the success that we need to look at as parents or as a school district. In different ways, big to what we are doing is data, and having the capability to allocate data across carriers is very critical. Now, solutions are all wireless in most cases, because if we're talking about buses sending out these devices home, they do not need to be connected or hooked up to any cables or anything of that nature. So these will be wireless enabled to allow that seamless connectivity and have kids access to education content very easily. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, if you have a question so far, you can ask before we proceed on. I think somebody had a question here in the chat.
Yeah.
Let me read out for you. Somebody.
I also have a question here.
Yeah, let me first read the one in the chat. Fred says, I work with schools across the country, Uganda, empowering them with entrepreneurial skills. But now I want to incorporate technology in this business as innovation. How do I do it?
Fred, thanks for that question. And number one is we have I think we have the infrastructure to incorporate edtech, or technology into what you're doing. It's leveraging existing structures or infrastructure to deliver what you're trying to do. And if you wanted to do this, there are many ways you're going to do it. And again, the detail of it, again, maybe we may look at it separately, but at the end of the day, you need to build those relationships with wireless networks or telcos in Uganda, build cases for them where this may be a viable business for them or not. But at the end of the day, you have got to write a case for what you intend to do, and build channels in which the devices will be manufactured and delivered. So we can look at different papers on how to do that, but at the end of the day, those are important initial relationships will be required for you to build inroads into telecoms, or even the government itself, where you may be who are requiring to learn more or understand how to deliver these solutions to the kids. Especially, I've heard with government attitude now towards allowing kids access education content from home. It doesn't have to be in the traditional holes or brick and sand, if you will. But yeah, we can discuss a little deeper on that to understand how where you may need to be and what you may need in detail to get this running.
Okay, there was another question.
My question is, I don't know if you can pick me well.
Yeah, we can now hear you.
My name is Ramuhungu. I'm from Fort Portal City, Western Uganda. Now, I wanted to find out, do you have understandings with governments in Africa, most especially here in Uganda? Because in Uganda here, the level of internet services are so high that a local person cannot access because of the taxes that are levied on the internet. We have OTT as the tax on the internet. So very few people can afford internet in the local communities. The other thing is about we've got some non-government organizations that are offering internet within that as the Wi-Fi, but it cannot reach everyone. That's why I'm saying our kids are studying from television. Others would want to access information through internet, but the cost of internet is so high. Do you have any agreements? Do you have any signings with governments that we should have some internet that is at a reduced cost? Thank you.
Kasija, do you have any that understanding? Speaking from, I mean, I don't think we do. So what we do here is to bring awareness to what needs to be done. But again, if we are going to leverage these user cases to deliver a functional solution into different parts of Uganda, again, they have got to look at other countries as well, where organizations are actually giving out free devices. They are giving out, let's say, telecommunications companies are subsidizing these devices, because this is potentially a human rights issue, where kids have got to study from home, where they have no access to their regular in-class. So schools here are running up their partnerships or with with the telecommunications companies to make sure that those kids, all kids who require and who may not have connectivity, are having that access. Now, when it comes to Uganda, that may be a different case. No, I do not have any policy or capabilities to change policies there. But again, if anybody's listening, this can be subsidized, especially during hard times. Even telecommunications companies can return to the citizens in that way, that they subsidize access so that curriculums can be delivered over the internet to the kids who need it. Now, I heard you actually saying, I heard you actually saying that you are an aspiring politician. So maybe that may be one of your responsibilities going forward, to bring that attention to the powers that be.
Yeah, indeed, we can change something if we go into leadership. But at the moment, for the Ugandan side, I don't think anything can be better, because
Davis, that is not the purpose of this conversation, to be honest. We can actually find ways and communicate ways where probably those subsidies can run down to the kids across the country. Different ways on how governments or particular districts or NGOs can actually push and expand the assistance to the people who require this connectivity.
Great.
I borrowed a picture from my company, and this is how a connected school district would look like. IoT, everything in real time. But and I did speak about delivering solutions over wireless networks, and some of those networks in the wireless world are outlined for you, but we will mainly concentrate on cellular network and LTE, long-term evolution, being the standard for wireless broadband communication for mobile devices and data terminals based on GSM or Edge, and sometimes you will see UMTS, HSPA, technologies, things of that nature. So LTE allows for speedy downloads or speedy delivery of content to the kids who need it. So that's why pretty much most of these devices or technologies in the school districts are heavily delivered over LTE for being off the broadband grid and far away from the reach of the cables. If you look at this diagram here, we are looking at student access, and with student access, that'd be 4G LTE mobile hotspots, which we talked about earlier. And recently, school districts are actually purchasing heavily LTE embedded Chromebooks. You will see more devices that are being introduced to the school districts to allow for easy connectivity. We will stream down to the connected buildings, extending connectivity over LTE into buildings or school administration blocks to make sure that they can still stay in touch with the students who require connectivity. I did speak about MDM, mobile device management. It's a big task to manage 6,000 Chromebooks. So with 6,000 Chromebooks pushing content to those Chromebooks, you require a solution that would allow the school district and teachers to push content and also manage what the kids are seeing and what the kids are accessing. Manage attendance. We have to know how long these kids are staying on the devices and manage how long they can be on there also. But most importantly is to control what they need to be seeing on a daily basis. We talked about the buses, very big solution in the rolling libraries. These are routers, mobile routers placed on the buses, provisioned over LTE or wireless networks to deliver wireless or Wi-Fi on the buses. And again, the provision can be on multi-networks, depending on which one performs in a particular school district. So we may cut it down probably on anyone that is able to allow that easy access. I will not break down these, what these mean, personal, the PAN or LAN or MAN, WAN. These are all wireless networks, and depending on what you're doing in terms of building the network and what area you're trying to cover, you would choose one of them. But for a larger area, including multi-states or multi-cities, in this case, we'll be looking at the wide area network for this particular purpose. In the delivery of classroom, you see predominantly, and I like to say Google Classroom, and I have the tick up there because they are doing great things. They are simplifying and creating, distributing, grading assignments, utilizing Google Classroom. Very comprehensive, intuitive tool to allow kids access from home. With the Google, there are more too. You will see Canvas, Blackboard, Schoology. We have Moodle, Edmod, Brightspace, Landash, etc., etc. So many options that you may have out there, and we are calling on to you guys in the tech world to innovate. Actually, build solutions that can meet the needs of our different school systems. It doesn't have to be us looking at what is happening here, but utilize the experiences to build what meets our expectations from our different places, different countries. But at the end of the day, as long as we can bring synergies together, put heads together and build a solution that cuts across different education systems, I think that would add value to to different areas where we think these solutions may be required. In education, it's very important to have access to analytics, having access to content or information that allows you to manage these devices or allows you to measure where the kids are in terms of accessing education or in terms of studying. What you bring to the table? What do these analytics help you to learn about the trends ongoing within the school district environment? Analytics may also help us understand how to protect the education mobile world, and that may include building very strong and comprehensive filtering profiles. Those filtering profiles allowing to separate what you think kids can access from what you don't want those kids to see. Very critical in a very regulated education environment. In education here, K-12 is heavily regulated. What kids access, and can we translate that information to build solutions that meet our expectations? Maybe yes, but a lot of times we need to leverage what is existing in other countries or in other worlds to understand what we can bring to the table. So analytics And I wish I could sign into one of them. Probably I will, so that we can look at those analytics and how they move. But let me move on to the next slide. Any questions so far? Besides analytics, we talked about filtering. Now, filtering of units is very, very, very important. Now, we talked about blocked traffic and allowed traffic. It's very important to keep kids concentrated on education content. So it's our responsibility as IT professionals or or education professionals to make sure that we are separating bad content from good content, and good content being the curriculum, education content, allowing kids to access what we think is appropriate for them to access without opening up a can of worms on all different sites like you would see here right below that do not add value to a certain extent to our kids. We with systems, we have the capability to shape access to YouTube to a certain level, allowing YouTube may carry education material as well. We can shape that data to allow access to good YouTube and eliminate videos that we think kids shouldn't see. But where we are saying, hey, probably deliver, we need undistracted students, we will need to write policies or filters that totally block out access of these kids to inappropriate content or sites that we feel like do not add more value a lot of the times during class times. So if you look at this diagram, it lays it out for you properly to understand clearly how what traffic is allowed, utilizing the filtering systems, and what can be blocked across different devices. So again, we may run into some other filter sets where we are saying, hey, school district is running another set of filters, and you're building a solution that comes with a whole different set of filters. Hey, we would discuss between the school districts to understand and incorporate those filters so that they are keeping the same level of filtering across the board. There shouldn't be any kind of misunderstandings on what system filters more than the other. But when we speak to filters, we are speaking about SIPA compliancy. Now, SIPA compliancy is very, very key in the delivery of a functional solution in a K-12 environment. What is SIPA? SIPA is a Children Internet Protection Act. You cannot deliver a solution that is not compliant to SIPA requirements. So all solutions that you build in this country or that kids are going to utilize have got to meet SIPA expectations. So I do not know what compliance requirements you may be having in Uganda, Davis, or some other countries or some other localities. But at the end of the day, we have to build a solution that is that meets the policy setup of that particular country when it comes to education and accessing education content. So we have talked about COVID and its impact on education and remote learning. But again, we can look at what has happened in the last few months. It's been eternity, 6-7 months lockdown, and you can imagine what's happened in some school districts that it did not embrace technology. And when it comes to our countries where we come from, that is a whole different story. Total shutdown to the students accessing education. That shouldn't happen a lot of times. But again, we are having these engagements so that people who have direct contact to the concerned can actually communicate that, hey, there could be solutions across the globe that could easily allow kids access education. Because calamities, you may predict things happening, but every other person was taken by surprise on how quickly COVID-19 covered the entire globe. So something else, you never know what it is. And a ready country is ready to educate her students. These are the solutions that they should be embracing to allow continuity in education environments. Because we know for sure, if you have systems that are running and allowing kids to do what they need to do to be kids, it's the best thing that can happen. Some other things may stop, but I don't think education should really get held down. We do have solutions. We do have people who can design and build solutions. We do have people who can who can code and write good, design very good infrastructure, or design very well thought out networks. So all that capability is available. So speaking to COVID, but we have learned so much throughout COVID, and you will see so many school districts have had a digital leapfrog. In most cases, some of them were reluctant in adopting technology. We heard recently here, Fairfax County actually had a total shutdown, a total breakdown of systems because of the traffic. So if you're ready and you have built a very good system, you've checked that system over time, you shouldn't be taken by surprise on how much your system can carry when we are hit with a calamity like this one, like COVID-19. COVID-19 pushes school closer to one-to-one, which is a great step towards having all students connected. One-to-one simply means a device to a kid. In a lot of school districts, we may see 1-2, it may be nothing at all, or 1-3. That is the maximum I've heard. But if COVID-19 is pushing schools closer to one-to-one in this country, that is going to be, I mean, that's when you can say, well, COVID-19 came with some little bit of, I don't know, because this is, it's between one-to-one initiatives. The only reason a lot of kids have no access to education content outside the class environment. So where the school districts meet that requirement of issuing each kid a device and allow them access education content outside the classroom, that would be a great benefit to our education system. Some teachers took it slow. And I remember recently, more especially in Uganda, everybody was running to Zoom. Zoom became a story about allowing connectivity. Zoom, struggling with Zoom here and there, but it really boosted teacher tech skills in every other person. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we do have teachers in our communities. We have teachers here in Maryland. I know some family has great teachers in Maryland. I think we have teachers in our area here in Virginia as well. But hats off to the teachers. We have learned, we now understand what you go through in the class environment. We didn't know how deep your responsibilities were in the schools, but we understand deeply what your contributions are towards educating our students or our kids. And thank you so much for a great job, well executed. Any teacher that may be on the call this evening. So mobile devices affecting students' social skills, that is the con, if you will. Attention spans are getting lost because kids are spending a lot of time on either tabs or TV, and those affect attention spans heavily. So if you can limit those a lot and keep the kids into environments where they need to be, then that should give us at least continued attention to the education detail that we require for continuity. Now, we all know that we will be with the technology, and it's been here long before COVID-19. But a lot of our areas or school districts, just like in our countries, there is a huge digital divide. Now, I don't know what to say to where we come from, whether it's a digital divide. It's pretty much non-existent. But do you say that is derived to or is arrived to because of lack of infrastructure, lack of telecommunication companies? Certainly not. We have telecom companies in Uganda, for example. What are they doing to deliver, to expand their services into areas where we think they should be expanding those services? What are they doing to contribute towards the connectivity of the kids who require it? What are they doing towards helping kids access curriculum while they are away, on their weekends, or traveling, or kids who are hospital bound? We're talking about kids who are probably homebound because of a problem. We are talking about kids who are in remand homes, in jails, who require connectivity. Those are very, very important demographics or segments that need the intervention yesterday. But most importantly is that school districts will work with robust solutions that promote meaningful learning experiences for students and educators. So if you build a very excellent solution, you work out a functional solution built based on the needs and requirements of a particular education system, it should be embraced. It should be taken on. As long as you build something that does not meet the needs and expectations, that becomes a very big problem. This is, so careers in telecom are varied. Telecommunications is deep, depending on what you'd like to do. Could be network design, could be data center management. It could be so much stuff that you may want to do. But when we look at those careers, everything starts somewhere, especially for people who have who live in this country. You take your time, do the right thing, but most importantly is to look at particularly areas in telecom that you would like to cover. What does your education say? What does it tell you? I have a lineup of certifications in telecommunications industry that you require to move an inch, to move your career further, as you can see, all lined up for you. And if you see up here, these are hirings based on these certifications. And if you're looking for jobs, really, you can go beyond. These are the companies that you need to look at. Simply Hired, Indeed, LinkedIn is very, very resourceful. So very big job hiring sites. But again, leverage your existing relationships in the market. If you know somebody, we work for organizations that may have, if you're a good person, you know what you're doing, you want to get in, you need to speak with people that you have built relationships with so that they can recommend you to jobs that are available or come available over time. So you can see, besides the telecom industry itself, the school districts do offer good long-term jobs. Schools, besides the teachers, if you're in technology, there are so many roles within school districts. And I say school districts because a school district has a superintendent, and in that's where the administration of the schools sits. School districts may have maybe 1,000 schools. Other schools are under it. Or if it's an integrated school district, it may have other small school districts under it, and then other small schools under the school district. It's a little complex, but easy to understand. Very important that school districts also offer technology jobs. And what I've heard over time is you could say school infrastructure director, technology director, instruction and curriculum director, technology coordinators. And when we look at payment, that is the average, 65 entry, between 65 and 150.
Okay. I have a question. I'm seeing these certificates, and what does RCDD mean?
RCDD is simply, let me see, RCDD. When you said RCDD, this one right here?
Yes.
So the registered communication distribution designer.
Okay.
So when you look at the RCDD, it's more on the building industry consulting services, which it's got a, you saw the BICSI.
Yes.
That is a subtopic under RCDD.
Okay. And how much would it cost to do that certificate?
On the pricing, really, I didn't dig deeper on the RCDD. What I have is I have CTNS. I should take you about $3,000 to $4,000 to $6,000.
Okay.
When we look at the INARTE, the same around the same amount. I pay. That one runs around $10,000, but it comes in series.
Okay.
So you may be sure to run one within probably $2,000, the initial start, and you have a start on it.
Okay.
Which should allow you into the work environment.
Okay.
But so we'll be looking at certifications between 1,000 and 10,000. It's crazy money, but the outcome is incredibly fulfilling.
Okay. Do we have any questions as regarding any of this? Those who are in attendance today? It looks like people are fulfilled.
Are these available in community colleges somewhere?
Well, yeah, if community colleges, these are professional bodies that offer these. So I can share a list of those professional bodies that you can look at to get those certifications. But community colleges, no, not on the telecom. I don't know. To be honest, no, I don't know whether community colleges issue these certifications. But it's easy to find out, and we'll find out that for you.
Yeah, and these certifications as well transferable to the African economy?
Yes, they are. Telecom is the standard across the globe. Let's say, so, and these are heavily marketable where you may go in the African economy, big time.
Okay. Would we have any other questions?
No, you guys did a great job.
Awesome. That is not my last slide, but well, the good thing is we had questions and answers as we moved on. But pretty much that brings me to the end of my presentation today. But if you have further questions, please let's interact more. But I needed to speak to Janet. Is it Janet? Is she still around?
I hope so. Let me see. Janet.
Yes,
Hey, Janet, how are
I'm
you?
here. Thank you. I can't see you anymore. What is it?
Hey, Jen, can you hear me, Janet?
I can't hear you. Yes.
I hear that youngster in the background.
So
Yeah.
So before you guys speak, those who want to receive the slides, please put your emails in the chat. I'll be sending the slides after this. So please put your emails.
So, Janet, you talked about working for an organization that an organization that deals with kids.
Yes.
And
So
go ahead.
currently, that's everything you talked about is what the families are experiencing. Children not having enough devices to go to school online, not having like a reliable, stable internet where they have to upgrade with Comcast and they're still struggling with it and things like that. So it's really costing. We've been supporting them with, so we got these tablets from, what do you call it, T-Mobile, and they have internet services on the Alcatel. I don't know if you know what that is. I'm sure you know because you're the tech person. But it's the Alcatel and it has the internet on it, and then they could also use it as a hotspot. So we've been able to support them with about 20 of those.
Okay.
Those
Yeah.
tablets. Yeah.
And I'm made to understand T-Mobile is giving them for free. You're paying for internet only.
Yes, that's what they say. But we still make the payment, but then they say after a year they will credit the whole amount back.
Exactly. Yeah. So there are many solutions out there. A lot of and again, you need to know that a lot of companies are on this. Some of them are taking advantage of the fact that all schools, all kids need connectivity. This is not their forte, if you will. This is not what they do, dealing with the kids, allowing kids access on a daily or every day. So they are hopping in very quickly to take advantage of the situation. And it's okay, but there are so many solutions out there that you can leverage to get kids access. And you can run to the school district, speak with the school district IT director there, or the instruction director, or the technology coordinator. Require or inquire from them what needs to be done for those kids to access. Buses are actually delivering meals on wheels, and I know you know that if it's up to that level. So make sure there is help to those kids who require connectivity and more things that they may need to stay in school.
Yeah.
And if you need more information on that,
Do you know of any other?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like we also heard of a mobile beacon or something.
Yes, I've
like
I've heard of mobile beacon.
Yes,
Yeah.
they allowed us. Yeah, so this is the hotspot, the little thing, for like $120 a year for the internet, which is, I think it's a good deal because with T-Mobile I'm paying $60 per month.
Okay. So I think the most important thing is allowing kids access now, and controlling their content is going to be very.
for the
Yeah, so our time is almost up. Douglas, you can share your contacts so that people know how.
Yeah, so thank you so much. We appreciate this. Thank you, Kasadi, for putting this on.
You're welcome.
So I didn't tell you where I came from in Uganda. When you're in Uganda, make it a point to visit Kasese.
Nice.
All right.
Okay, Douglas.
Okay,
Thanks for this presentation.
Stay safe.
Yes.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
Why not for
Akichi wewe muno.
Why not for photo?
So please, what do? So please add your Douglas. Please add your email.
Okay.
In the slide so that people, because I'll be sharing slides so that people know how to contact you in case they have any questions.
I will do that.
Okay. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We are done with the presentation. If you've not yet shared your email, please do so as the session has ended.
Thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you to Douglas.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas.
Thank you, Davis.